Hello everybody, so good to see you again. Just give you all a moment to hunker down, get ready, mosey on over. Also, it's Friday. We made it to the weekend. If you're keeping track of the days, it's kind of hard. Still getting warmer. I know I talk about it every day, but I feel like it's finally on an upturn here, weather-wise. Finally made it to some happier, springier weather. From what I can tell, yeah, pretty much almost all the snow is gone here. We're pretty lucky. All right, I'm gonna get started with our hello song. So good to see you all today. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining in again for some late night show with Lauren, coming at you live from St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Whoa! And reminder that our theme for this week has been rhythm-based things, rhythm-based kind of games, rhythm-based activities, learning new rhythms or new songs. Today, it's going to be a little bit different. More that we are focusing on actual drumming basics. So say you've been watching all this, you're like, rhythm's super cool, but Lauren, I just want to play the drums. Today is your day. It is your chance. So, you're going to need a couple things before we get started here. Number one, you're going to need some drumsticks of sorts. So that could be, for example, wooden spoons. One of my wooden spoons is actually a drumstick. You could use wooden spoons. That's just fine. Hey, if you don't have that, you got markers? That's just fine. Preferably a longer stick than one of these would be better. But if you have nothing else, if markers is like the best thing you got, markers are fine, pens are fine, pencils are fine. Especially if you have smaller hands. If you are younger, that would work also totally fine. Also, actual drumsticks will work. These will work wonderfully, because that's what we're doing. The second thing you're going to need is you're going to need something to drum on. What can we drum on? You can drum on a pillow. You can bring out a little small pillow and drum on that. That works fine. You could drum on a cardboard box. You could drum on the carpeted floor, if you have that. You could drum on an actual drum pad or a drum itself. And for me, I'm drumming on a stool today because it's a decent height for me. So take a couple moments, find your sticks and your stools and your drums and whatever you have and whatever you're going to use. I'll give you just a couple seconds to locate those things and then we will get started. While you're finding that, I'll just ramble a little bit. I'm really excited to do this right now. Drumming is what I started with. Drumming is my favorite thing. I don't do it often enough. I should do it more, but it makes me very happy, so I'm really happy to share that with you. So hopefully you have your sticks of some sort and your drumming surface of some sort. It's also important, if you are a kiddo and you are watching this, make sure you ask your parents or caregivers what they approve of you using for this, what you're using for your sticks, what you're using for your surface to drum on. You don't want to break anything, and you don't want to make too much noise that people don't want. That's a very important thing. If you are entering the world of drumming, is you're going to make a lot of noise, and you have to be very conscious and respectful of the people who are listening to it and the people who have to hear it. So, something to consider. We're going to move on. Where should your drum be? So if this is your drum, where should that be? Ideally, the height for you is going to be, and I'll show you here, find your belly button with your thumb and point down with your hand. Your drum should be at that level, at like a hand's length below your belly button, especially if you were to be standing up. So it'd be kind of like right at your waist area. But if you can't achieve that right now, that's absolutely fine. I'd say try not to go higher than your belly button. Lower is okay. We can work with lower. So if you're sitting on the ground and you're drumming on the carpet, that's absolutely fine. But if you've got something a little bit higher, like a table or something, try not to go above your belly button. That's gonna mess up with some angles a little bit here. Okay, onward. So we got our drum set up. We got our sticks ready. What are we gonna learn today? We're gonna learn a couple basics today. So on, what's your technique going to look like? How do you start? What are some things you need to be thinking about? And then we'll actually go into some warm-ups and some exercises that I started with many, many years ago and that I still do now. But first, it's really important to make sure that your muscles and your joints are all warmed up. So we're gonna start with a little stretch here. I know it's hard. It's hard to put down the drumsticks once you get them in your hands. Take your two hands, if you are able to, and put them together. Kind of like a prayer hand emoji kind of symbol. All right, you're gonna put your hands together and kind of push them together a little bit, not too hard, and then bring your wrists down. So you're gonna keep your hands in the same position, but lower them down a little bit. And you should be feeling a little bit of that tension right here, right in your wrists. You're gonna start like this, and let's take some deep breaths, might as well. So let's take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. One more, breathe in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Somebody scrolling by might think this is just yoga, but it's not. Let's flip our arms down now, so our hands. So you keep your hands in the same exact shape, and then bring them down. That might be kind of hard to do. So you're gonna bring them down like that and do the same thing. This time you're gonna be pulling your wrists upward. That's where you're gonna feel that stretch. And kind of in the same area. This time then you might feel it a little bit farther up your forearm. So press together and pull up just a little bit, just to when you feel that tension, that's a good place to kind of hold it there. Don't overexert yourself. We have not even begun. We'll take 2 deep breaths here too. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. All right, shake it out, shake it out. Loosey-goosey, get the blood back in your hands. We got one more stretch to do and then we can get drumming. I promise you. It's just over the horizon. Okay, this time, and I'm gonna scoot over a little bit because I have this in the vertical alignment so you can see. You're gonna put both your arms out straight, okay? But with your hands, you're gonna pull them to be as straight as possible, pointing straight up, trying to make that 90-degree angle with your hands. And you should be feeling it on the top of your forearm this time. So the last time we were feeling it more on the bottom. Right now, you're gonna be feeling it up top. Let's do 2 deep breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. Now the last part of our stretch. Same thing like we did with the kind of prayer hands one. You're going to rotate your hand down and try and keep that angle. Now this one again, you're going to feel in your forearms. It burns a little bit, right? A little uncomfortable, but this is getting our muscles warmed up. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. All right, shake it out one more time. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. I like just doing this, just really like you're shaking off water off your hands before you grab that paper towel. All right, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Get the blood back in your hands. Now you can pick up those drumsticks. We are ready to go. Your drumsticks, your spoons, your pens, your markers, whatever you are using. We're gonna pick them up now. Okay, so the first thing that you start with is, how do I hold my drumsticks? Well, you don't want to be holding way too high up. It's not going to sound very good. You don't want to be holding way at the back. Because now it kind of sounds loud, and honestly, it felt out of control. It felt like I wasn't really making that happen. It was kind of working on its own. You want to be about, let's take a look here. I'd say it's about 2.5, 3-ish inches away from the bottom of the drumsticks, okay? About that length. All right, so you got that much distance at the back of your drumsticks. Great. Now where do I hold them? What do I do? You're going to be holding them down like this, okay? You want to be keeping them level. You're not waiting up here with your sticks way up high. You're going to keep the tips of the drumsticks really, really close to your surface. All right, now look at the back of your hands. Are they bent down like this? Are they bent up like this? You want them to be flat, like you could rest a soda can. That's what they always told me when I was little, resting a soda can on the top of your hand. You want your hand to be flat on top. And if it's not, if you can't really help that, that's usually a really good sign that your drum is too high or too low, that your wrist can't help but, or, you know. So, soda cans on the back of your hands. You got your 2.5-ish inches on the back of the drumstick coming out of here. Now the last part is, what do your fingers do? What are your fingers doing? They're gonna be kind of loosey-goosey. You're gonna be holding the drumsticks mostly between your thumb and your pointer finger. And you see how they kind of wobble like that? That's a good thing. That means that you got that loosey-goosey with your thumb and your pointer finger. And then the rest of your fingers just really lightly wrap around it. You see a lot of beginner drummers splay these fingers off and they're drumming like this because you can. You can technically drum with just these two fingers holding it. But you're gonna get a lot more control and a lot more consistency and stability if you wrap the rest of your fingers around the drumsticks. Also, one thing to mention, some of you might be watching and going, I thought I've seen videos and pictures of people drumming with one hand turned upward like this. That's called traditional grip. We're not gonna worry about that right now. This one is called matched grip because your hands are matching, and I think that's an easier one to start with. So that's what we're gonna start with. So we've got our soda cans on the back of our hands, the 2.5-ish inches off the backs of the drumsticks. You've got your fulcrum point being between your thumb and your pointer finger, and the rest of your fingers are wrapped around the back. Great. Okay, now what? How do you play now? You have your soda cans, and you just want to start drumming, right? Things to think about. You're going to be using more of your wrist than you realize. You hear this a lot, you know, it's all in the wrist, it's all in the wrist. It's not all in the wrist. It's mostly in the wrist. I would say at least 70 to 80% is using your wrist to make that happen. You can kind of see that my arm isn't moving much at all. It's mostly my wrists. And I'll even show you from the side a little bit here. Right? So you can see it's really just mostly right here. You get a little bit of lever action coming from right here where it moves very slightly. But honestly, I'm not really moving that. The rebound of the drumsticks is kind of pushing the rest of it to happen. So most of the active drumming is going to be happening from your wrist. Cool? Cool. Onward. Okay. You heard me mention that rebound. That's super duper duper important. So let's practice a little bit. How do you access and harness that rebound while playing drums? You can see how it just kind of shot right back up when I was playing. And I'm not lifting it. You see this as a very common mistake for people just starting out, is they use their whole arms because they think that that's the way to keep it going, and it's not. It's mostly in your wrist, and you're accessing that bounce. So if you're on a good surface, this is something to try. I might not be. My guitar and my ukuleles are right next to me here, but I'm going to show you one way to kind of see what that bounce is that I'm talking about. Take your drumstick, hold it like you're supposed to, and you're going to hit one time, but you're going to let go. So watch. There it goes. We're going to do it again with the other one. Did you see how the drumstick bounced up and it went back really quickly? So we're going to be using that. That's what the rest of your fingers holding the drumstick is for. Because if I just hold with these two, it's just loosey-goosey shooting back up. But if you have your fingers around there, you've got that bounce and you're kind of catching it with the rest of your hand and pushing it down at the right time. So you can try that with me. I'll give you like 30 seconds to hit and let the drumstick go. Just find a good spot to do this and just see what that's like. I'll do one more. kind of messy, kind of silly, but that's okay. The next step to that then, of going, how do I access that bounce? You know, I get what you're saying, I'm tossing it back, but then I can't get it, I'm still sawing with my drumstick to try and get that bounce out of it. Try this time holding it with just your thumb and your pointer finger and almost letting it go like that. Still hold on to it, but just let it bounce. And just let it go. You can do that a couple times. Do that with your right hand, do that with your left hand. Get a feel for what is it like if I just let that bounce happen, but I kind of catch it with my hand or I catch it with my fingers. You know, it's more controlled. It's still, you know, it's still not drumming like me going like this, but it's one step more controlled. It's not flying back and flying off my chair. Okay, so now that you got that. And that'll come with time. If you don't get that right now, that's totally okay, but these are just things to be thinking about if you do continue and if you do try and play more during this time where we're stuck inside and there's plenty of time to learn a new instrument. What a great time to start that up. So, next up, we're actually just gonna start playing. We're gonna start a warm-up, a really common warm-up, one that everybody uses. It's called 8 on a hand. And that's because you play 8 times with your right hand, then you play 8 times with your left hand, and you repeat. What I mean by that, let me show you. I'll count myself in with a 1, 2, ready, go, like I've been doing all week. I'll show you just, let's say 2 repetitions of 8 on a hand. So 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're done. Great. So that's 8 on a hand, or 8s. Some people just call it 8s because that's faster to say. So we're going to practice 8 on a hand together. But how we're going to do that, you know, because we all have to try and stay in time together, and I can't count the rhythms the entire time. I'm counting the numbers for you, and I'm helping you with that, but you don't really get a sense for what's the time. You know, how do I not rush? How do I not slow down? You know, what's really going to help you there is going to be a metronome, a happy, wonderful metronome. There are plenty of metronome apps that you can use. I also, and most of them are all free unless you pay a little extra for some fancy features, which you don't need. You really don't unless you are a professional musician or really looking for certain things. But even today, I Googled it and it just pops up on the Google page for a metronome. So there you have it. Super easy, super accessible. So I'm going to start a metronome going at 68 beats per minute. That's a little bit faster than 1 beat per second. So let's hear here. I don't want it to be too loud for you. Okay. I hope that's all right. Just to have a little something in the background. Okay. So when we're playing 8 on a hand, it's 8th notes. So right now you're hearing a quarter note. So that means for every single beat, we play 2 notes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to get started together. All right. I'll count us in with a 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. Good. Okay. How'd that feel? Kind of check in with your body. Feel where the tensions are. Is it in your wrist? Is it in your forearm? Is it in your fingers? Think about where you're feeling it. Right now, honestly, you shouldn't be feeling it in many places except maybe on top of your wrist and maybe at the back of your forearm. You really build up kind of beefy muscles here if you do a lot of drumming. But you shouldn't be feeling too much right now. If you are, that usually means that you are too tense. You are clenching onto the drumstick with all of your might and you are sawing like this and you're kind of feeling the best comparison I can come up with is if you play tennis or baseball and you're going to go hit that baseball, and you know when you have a really bad hit on the ball and it kind of shoots up your wrists and it feels dull and it kind of hurts a little bit? That's the same kind of feeling. If you are holding on to this too tight and just not in the right way, you're going to be feeling that it's not really going to be a lot of shock absorption. It's all going to go into your wrist and kind of hurt and be dull after a while. But you know when you hit a baseball or a tennis ball and it is just in that sweet spot and it just rockets right off of there, bounces away, and you don't feel anything in your hands or your arms, best feeling ever. That's what you're kind of looking for with your drumsticks too. So check in with yourself after every warm-up, especially in the beginning, and go, where am I feeling tensions? Is it because maybe I'm not using the right technique? Am I going to be hurting myself in the long run doing this? Check in with yourself. Prevent long-term injuries from these things. It's super important. We're going to go back to 8s. We're going to go a little bit faster here. So we were at 68 beats per minute before, and I'm going to bump us up to, let's see here. Let's go to 80. Okay, we're going to do 8 on a hand at 80 beats per minute. I'm talking right now in case when the metronome starts, you can't hear me talking anymore. So we're just going to keep going. I will let you know when it's the last time. Last time means that we'll do one more set of 8 on your right hand. Oh gosh, hit my computer there. And one more set of 8 on your left hand. All right? So let's go. Turn this up a little bit. Okay, so think about, listen to the metronome for a little bit before you get started. Kind of internalize that tempo and what it's going to mean for you when you start playing. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and stop. Okay. Notice too how I was even looking down once or twice at my arms to check in and go, is one arm shooting out too far? You know, you don't want to have one arm way out here and one arm way in here. That's not going to help you out either. Make sure you kind of look even. And I even have a camera to be watching myself right now, but I still checked because it's good to check in with yourself. It's good to see. So also ask yourself how to feel to go a little bit faster. Was it too fast? Were you kind of having to use your arm and your shoulder and your forearm to keep up with the tempo? If that's the case, it's a little bit too fast for you, and you need to go back to slower tempos and work your way up gradually. Okay, we're going to do it at 80 beats per minute. One more time, and then we're going to move on. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. Good. Okay. So now, just because we don't have much more time, which is crazy, 30 minutes is flying by like nobody's business here. We're gonna do one more kind of warm up, and it's based off of 8 on a hand, but instead this time of doing 8 on your right, 8 on your left, 8 on your right, 8 on your left, we're gonna have something we call a check pattern. So that's gonna be 8 on your hand, being 8 and 8, and then we do something different, and then we go back to the 8 and 8. So this time, we're going to do just normal alternating sticking here. So it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, left, 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 right, left. So the amount of time that I spent on the right, left versus the right, left, left, same amount of time. You can still count to 8 2 times while you do the different sticking pattern in between. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to go back to the 80 beats per minute, and you can watch what that looks like for me. You can join in. I'll do a couple repetitions, and I'm going to teach you one more sticking pattern after this. Okay. 1, 2, ready, go. 8s and 8. And now we switch our pattern to right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. 1, 2, ready, back to 8s. Right and left. Alternating right, left, right, left. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and right. Left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and stop. Good. Okay. Last one. Throw a little challenge at you. I'll bump it down a couple notches here tempo-wise, just because this one is a little bit more thinking. So we're back down to about 68 beats per minute, and we're going to be doing something called paradiddles. And you play it how it sounds. Paradiddle. Okay. A paradiddle is right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, just in case you've been watching this and you're like, Lauren, I'm not that challenged right now. I want to learn something a little bit more complicated. Paradiddles. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Paradiddle, paradiddle. Sounds kind of like how you play it. A little bit. We're kind of telling ourselves that. Helps you remember it. So, let's take it at 68 beats per minute. Might be a little fast for some of you, but if that's the case, hey, pull up a metronome after this. Try it out on your own. There's no one stopping you. I'm not stopping you. You can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead. Do 68 beats per minute. Oh, here, I'll pause this. We're going to do 8 on your right hand, 8 on your left hand, then paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. So you're going to be doing, oh wait, yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, so you're going to be doing 8 on your right hand, 8 on your left hand, then a right paradiddle, left paradiddle, right paradiddle, left paradiddle, and then we repeat. Okay? I know that's a lot to keep track of, but we're going to do it just a couple times. This is really just your extra challenge at the end here before we're done. Okay. I'll count us in. And 1, 2, ready, go. Start with 8s. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Paradiddle time. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. 8s. 5, 6, 7, 8, left. 5, 6, 7, 8, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Last time. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Stop. All right. Way to go. Thanks for following along. I know this is a lot to keep track of. So, a couple resources in case you're watching this and you're going, okay, I think I kind of like this drumming thing. I want to do a little bit more with that. I'll post a link below to one of the best and most accessible, easy to find, tried and true resources, which is the Vic Firth 40 Rudiments website, which I swear that page has been around since the early internet, because I've been using it since the early 2000s. I swear I even started using that website then, and it's still pretty much the same. Same stuff's on there. It has a lot of these rudiments, so rudiments are kind of the building blocks of everything you will ever play in drumming, but broken down, and you can play along with it at different levels of tempos. There's like bronze level, silver level, gold level, platinum level, diamond level, I think, and each one is a little bit faster, and you can challenge yourself to see, okay, what level can I get to today? It's an excellent resource. It's super fun to kind of challenge yourself with that. So again, I will post that below. Also, metronome's the other resource. You can just Google metronome and a metronome pops up. Otherwise, There are so many apps out there for metronomes, more than I can count. Ooh, that's kind of a pun. Hey, didn't plan on that. But thank you. Thank you for sticking around for the late night show with Lauren and for, you know, dealing with my obsession with rhythms and drums and all of those things for this week. It'll change up for next week. We'll be posting a schedule for all of you to see, and it'll basically be the same as last week, of scheduling of when you can expect to see us. So I'm excited to see you guys again next week. Hope you've had fun. But now it's time for our goodbye song. Hey, guess what? It's time to say goodbye to all of our friends for today. Hey, guess what? It's time to say goodbye to our friends in music. And we'll stop all done. Thanks for joining again today, guys. I will see you next week. Hope you have a fabulous weekend filled with lovely weather. Oh, ukulele almost fell there. See you guys.